The story begins with teenage astronomy students Leo and Sarah, who are in a relationship. They are looking at the stars through a telescope when suddenly they spot a strange moving object in the sky that they've never seen before. They start arguing about whether it's a star or a satellite, but their teacher asks them to capture an image of this celestial object and send it to Dr. Marcus Wolf. After receiving the image, Dr. Marcus is left astonished, because it's not a satellite but rather a comet that is rapidly approaching Earth and is only a year and a half away. Dr. Marcus saves all this information onto a disk, labeling it with his surname Wolf and Leo's surname Biederman, as Leo was the one who sent him the image. Following this, he quickly gets into his car and rushes to inform his superiors about this significant discovery. Unfortunately, fate takes a cruel turn as he meets with a fatal accident involving a truck and he loses his life right on the spot. Then the story shifts to 1 year later, and we see that the Secretary of the Treasury in the US resigns from his job. The reason given to the public is that his wife Ellie's health is severely deteriorating. However, Jenny, a reporter of MSNBC, suspects the reason for Alan to resign from his job is something else and decides to meet him. Outside Alan's house, Jenny sees a stockpile of various food and survival supplies, giving the impression that Alan is preparing to leave somewhere. Jenny attempts to ask questions to Alan, expressing her awareness that he and the president are hiding something from the world. She questions Alan about his wife Ellie's situation, but Alan doesn't provide any satisfactory answer and abruptly leaves the scene with his daughter. Then as Jenny starts heading back home, FBI officers pull her car over and arrest her, bringing her to the president. The president instructs Jenny not to publish any of the news she has come across. In exchange, he offers her a seat in the second row during a press conference at the White House that will take place in 2 days. Jenny agrees to the president's terms, but after arriving home, she starts researching about Ellie online. She discovers that the spelling of Alan's wife's name is not ELLIE, but ELE, which stands for Extension Level Event. This revelation shocks Jenny to the core. 2 days later, during the White House press conference, the president states that Earth is frequently bombarded by meteors of various sizes, most of which burn upon entry into the atmosphere, causing no harm. However, he reveals that 8 months ago, they discovered a new comet heading towards Earth, the size of which is the same as New York City and weighs a staggering 500 billion tons. A collision with this comet would result in the complete annihilation of Earth. To counter this threat, Russia and the United States have collaborated over the past 8 months to develop a spacecraft. After 2 months, a team of astronauts will be sent to the comet, where they will execute a powerful nuclear blast to alter its trajectory and prevent it from colliding with Earth. The president further reveals that Marcus Wolf and Leo Biederman were the initial discoverers of this comet. However, both of them lost their lives in an accident. In reality, Leo Biederman is still alive and watching the news on TV. In the car accident, only Dr. Marcus lost his life, but when the authorities found the disc at the crash site, it bore the surname of Dr. Marcus Wolf and Leo Biederman, leading them to believe that both individuals had perished. Leo realizes that the strange star he had seen 1 year ago was the same comet. Following this revelation, Leo gains worldwide fame for being the first person to witness the approaching comet. 2 months later, the team of astronauts embarks on their journey to the comet. Upon landing, they promptly initiate a 100-meter drilling operation to implant the nuclear bomb. However, the drilling machine comes to a halt midway, and as a result, one astronaut descends into the hole to fix the machine. Time is now running critically short, as the comet is on the verge of sunrise. Due to the absence of ozone layer, temperatures on the comet are expected to soar beyond 250 degrees Celsius within minutes after the sun rises, causing gas pockets within the surface to explode. The team successfully restarts the drilling machine and manages to attach the bomb, but the sun has already started to rise. While hurrying back to the spacecraft, one astronaut's face inadvertently turns towards the sun, resulting in permanent blindness. Simultaneously, a gas pocket beneath another astronaut's feet ignites, propelling him into the void of space due to the explosion, and he is lost forever. The remaining astronauts board the spacecraft and escape from the comet, detonating the nuclear bomb from a safe distance. However, their mission ends in failure as the comet's trajectory remains unchanged. The outcome is that the comet has now split into 2 parts, a smaller one and a larger one, both hurtling towards Earth. Afterward, this news reaches the president, leaving him deeply saddened. He addresses the nation through television, explaining that when the smaller comet collides with Earth, it will create massive waves in the oceans, resulting in a global tsunami. The water speed will exceed even 1100 miles per hour. Additionally, the impact of the larger comet with Earth will result in the extinction of every living species on the planet. The president then reveals that since the discovery of the comet, they were not only preparing for the best but also for the worst. He unveils the plan to save 1 million people, ensuring humanity's survival and revival. He elaborates that a cave has been prepared in Missouri's soft limestone, stocked with a 2-year supply of essentials and provisions. The stock also includes the seeds of all the plants and all animal species, saving them from extinction. Out of the 1 million slots, 200,000 individuals have already been selected for their expertise in various fields, including doctors, engineers, artists, and more. The remaining 800,000 slots will be allocated through a lottery system, excluding individuals aged 50 and above. Other countries are also devising strategies to safeguard their populations. The president then imposes martial law across the country to prevent chaos and mass panic. Leo's family receives a call informing them that they have been pre-selected for the program due to Leo being the first person to spot the comet. However, Sarah's family is not chosen for the program, which leads Leo to visit Sarah. He presents her with a ring and proposes, suggesting that if they marry, she can become a part of his family and join him in the program. However, Sarah is hesitant to leave her parents behind. Leo assures her that he has spoken to national security about including her family, and their names will soon be added to the program. Eventually, Leo and Sarah get married, and a few days later, a military bus arrives to transport the selected individuals to the caves in Missouri. While Sarah's name is on the list, her family's name is not, preventing them from joining the bus. As a result, Sarah makes the difficult decision not to board the bus, because she doesn't want to leave her family behind. After the bus reaches its destination, Leo also decides to opt out of the program, driven by his deep love for Sarah, and embarks on a quest to find her. Now only 12 hours remain before the first comet collides with Earth, followed by the larger one just 3 hours after that. The president says that when the first comet impacts the ocean near Washington, it will trigger a massive tsunami, submerging a significant portion of the land. And when the larger comet strikes 3 hours later, the resulting blast will be so immense that the Earth will be covered in a blanket of dust, taking about 2 years for it to settle. During this time, all traces of life, both human and animal, will vanish from the planet's surface, leaving only those who sought refuge in the caves. On the other side, we see the astronauts returning from space towards Earth. They realize that there's no point in returning to a planet that's destined for destruction. Instead, they decide to head back to the comet. With the 4 additional nuclear bombs they have, they plan to detonate them all at once on the comet's surface. This will cause the comet to break into smaller pieces, which will eventually burn up in the atmosphere before reaching Earth, ultimately saving the planet. However, this decision means they won't be able to make it back to Earth due to limited fuel. Nonetheless, they are determined to see their mission through to the end. They understand that even though they won't return, their sacrifice will be remembered by humanity for thousands of years. And with this in mind, they contact on Earth to get the nuclear codes. Meanwhile, on the other side, Leo tirelessly searches for Sarah on his motorcycle. The streets are congested with traffic as everyone leaves their home, uncertain of their destination as there are no safe places left on Earth. Eventually Leo manages to locate Sarah, and this time her parents convince her to go with Leo, entrusting her with her infant younger brother. Together, Leo, Sarah, and her brother set off on Leo's bike toward higher ground. On the other side, we find Jenny. As a helicopter arrives to transport her to the cave, she gives up her seat to a friend and instead heads to her father's beach house, a place she had distanced herself from for years. In her final moments, she forgives her father, whom she had been upset with for years because he left her mom for another woman. She embraces him tightly, and after a while, the first comet falls into the ocean, triggering towering tsunamis. Accepting her fate, Jenny, along with her father, surrenders herself to these massive waves. The waves are so immense that even the tallest buildings of New York City are submerged, resulting in entire cities being devastated within a matter of minutes. Meanwhile, Leo, Sarah, and her brother continue their journey toward higher ground, eventually arriving at the peak with fellow survivors. On the spacecraft, the astronauts have their final conversations with their families on Earth, bidding them a final goodbye. They then guide their spacecraft to collide with the larger comet. The impact triggers an enormous nuclear explosion, shattering the comet into countless fragments that ignite upon entering Earth's atmosphere. Atop the hill, Leo, Sarah, and the other survivors witness this unbelievable event unfolding in the sky. A few weeks later, as the tsunami subsides and waters recede back into the ocean, the president addresses the nation outside the White House. He pays tribute to the heroes who saved the Earth from impending doom, promising that their memory will never fade and that their stories will be passed down to future generations. Due to the devastation caused by the smaller comet, numerous cities were destroyed and countless lives were lost. However, despite this, the majority of the population survived, and humanity's spirit remained strong. The president assures that the world will rebuild, and cities will be restored. Though the journey ahead is challenging, the Earth's population will thrive once again. And with these words, the movie comes to an end. Subscribing to the channel will make my day better. See you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.